USC's newest Associate Dean of Religious Life comes at religion from a different angle. This is The Chat. Hi, I'm Rachel Parsons, and I'm joined in the studio today by our newest Associate Dean of Religious Life, Vanessa Gomez-Brake. Vanessa, welcome to The Chat.
Thank you for inviting me here.
Thank you. Let's talk about your background a bit quickly, because you have a unique identity within the Office of Religious Life. You are a humanist. Tell
That's
me
right.
what humanism is.
Well, humanism is a philosophy of life that, without supernaturalism, affirms our ability and responsibility to lead meaningful and ethical lives towards the greater good of humanity. So, in short, we're good without God.
Okay. Atheist.
Yes, I do ascribe to the label atheist.
Then the big question is why? Why work? Why choose to devote your professional life to serving students who have diametrically opposed views and working with staff, with other members of the office who have completely different views than yourself?
Yeah, and I think that's an interesting question because most of the time people think my worldview is in opposition to that of a religious worldview, but I think of it a little differently. As humans together in this world, we're all navigating life's big questions, right? Mm-hmm. And so we're concerned with existence. We're concerned with how we make meaning of everything that we're experiencing in this world. And when you take it from that perspective, I'm not so different from anyone else in the Office of Religious Life, and even those who hold worldviews that do attribute, life to a divine being. I think I am just as capable of asking spiritual questions as well as orienting myself to people and to this world in a way that is meaningful for me as well as for them.
How have you been received so far?
So far, everyone's been really great. Some people don't know what humanism is, and so, of course, some people are surprised. But certainly, I've been doing interfaith work for about a decade now, and I've come to sort of expect different responses, and I have to say that USC has been nothing but welcoming thus far.
Yeah. Where did you come from?
Most recently, I came from Stanford University, where I was also working in their Office for Religious Life. And there, it was a great position because I got to oversee all the programming in Stanford Memorial Church. So I was specializing in Christian spiritual life, as well as overseeing programming at the Center for Interreligious Community Learning and Experiences, which meant I got to work with people of all faith traditions and no faith tradition.
And faith traditions, you were raised in a biggie.
Yeah, of course. I'm Filipino, and so I was raised Roman Catholic. And I grew up on the very small island of Guam, and I would say about 90% of the island ascribes to that faith tradition, and so I was amongst the majority.
When did it start? When did your views start to change?
Yeah.
And why?
I would say that very early on in my life, probably as a teenager, I knew that I didn't believe in the supernatural aspects of the Catholic faith. I wasn't so vocal about that perspective at that time. And and then, of course, as you get more angsty in your teenage years, I became a bit more sort of anti-theist at that point. But in college, no joke, I was so interested in religion that I made it my major in undergrad. And eventually, it was through the study of religion and through my interfaith work that I eventually found the humanist philosophy.
So that's incredible that you started out as someone with deep faith, I assume, and then it went away, but it's still, what is it about the culture of religion that drew you back into just the secular study of it?
So I think I was interested in understanding what people believed, why they believed it, and how that informed their actions in the world. And so when I started studying religion, I had these great experiences where I took a course on the Hebrew Bible, and it was something that was going to apply towards my undergrad, and so I took it. And It was a conservative woman rabbi who taught me how to critically analyze a sacred text. So having been brought up Catholic, I had never read the Bible for myself. I had never been empowered to critique the text. And again, this was a woman rabbi. She was a religious leader, and her faith tradition held her up as a leader. Again, as a Catholic woman, I had never seen a woman in leadership. And so through these many things of studying religion and seeing women leaders, I got compelled to take a similar course.
There is so much to unpack here. We could spend much more time, but briefly, what did you see, or what do you see as what's your perception between coming from Guam, a small society, a heavily religious one, landing in California, in one of the more progressive states in the country? How do you see the shift, and do you see that religion for the students at USC and for Los Angeles generally still have impact or meaning?
Yes, religion is going to continue to hold a very important space in people's lives. However, on university campuses, especially one like USC, we're seeing that 44% of the student body, or at least the incoming freshman class, either do not ascribe to a faith tradition or do not ascribe to a label that puts them into one box. They're not simply Muslim, Christian, Jewish. They're spiritual. They're nothing. They're so many other terms, but they don't want to be put into a box. And so that's why I think the Office of a Religious Life sought me out in terms of being able to experiment with this new form of spirituality and finding the ways that we answer life's big questions, not talking about God, but how these students are going to find meaning for themselves in their own unique ways.
Last term definition. Briefly describe the difference, because this was something I wasn't ever completely clear on. What is the difference between atheist and agnostic? Speaking of not wanting to be labeled and defined.
So atheist simply says what you're not. You do not believe in God, and you do not believe in supernatural things. An agnostic may be an atheist. They don't have to be, but an agnostic simply says that there's no way of knowing definitely whether there is or is not a God. So they are in that space where they're capable, if the knowledge presents itself, that they may be able to acknowledge that. I hope I said that all right. But you're right, there is a clear difference.
Yeah, as I have noticed that there has been, in my life, and I come from a very conservative state where there is a lot of confusion and a lot of, well, they must mean the same thing, because if you don't believe, then it's all the same thing.
Right.
Or if you're not sure, then you're out. So.
And I've certainly used all those terms to describe myself at different times in my life. So.
But thank you for being here.
Yes.
I very much appreciate it.
So happy to be here.